So in this video, we're going to be looking at finding a way that we can create a cohesive brand for our Etsy shop that's going to match our front page of our Etsy shop, our art printables themselves, the images that we use to present our art printables, and also all of our marketing material. And it is so important that we create a cohesive brand identity all the way through that, so that when someone clicks onto your Etsy shop through an image that they found on a pin on Pinterest, for example, that they see the same look and feel from that pin into your Etsy shop branding, like your logo and your shop icon, into the imagery and the listing photos that you've created to represent how your art printables could look in their home, even down to your art printables themselves. So if we were going to really focus on brand identity, then this would be an entire course dedicated to it itself. It's a huge subject, and if you're going to go on in future to create businesses, then learning more and getting clued up on how you can create a really strong, cohesive brand for whatever online business you create is a really important thing to do. But when we're just creating our Etsy shop and we don't have a huge amount of skill and knowledge in branding, then there are just a couple of really key things that we can do to make sure that our branding is streamlined in our Etsy shop, but keep it as simple as possible for us to just follow along, so that the whole idea of branding your Etsy shop is not going to be too overwhelming. And these are just some of the simple things that I do to make sure that I've got an attractive Etsy shop for my ideal customer. So the first thing that we want to do in order to create a cohesive brand in our shop is work out what our target audience visually find appealing. And obviously by now you should already have your micro niche down, and you should know pretty much who you're trying to target your art printables and your Etsy shop towards. And we're going to take that information in this lesson and find out what will visually attract them to our shop. So we're going to start on my favorite search platform, which is Pinterest, and it is an amazing place to really get a feel for what your target audience or your target customer likes to visually look at. So we can take advantage of that simply by using search to type in something that represents the micro niche of the art printables that we're looking to create. So for example, just to show you a demo of this, I'm going to act like I have narrowed down my micro niche and I want to focus on creating neutral wall art for nursery decor. So I know that nursery decor is really popular on Etsy. I know that some of the top sellers sell nursery decor, and I really want to focus on creating a shop that's going to really appeal to people who want to create neutral nurseries, either because they don't know the sex of the baby yet or because they just like that earthy neutral feel. So as you can tell, I already have neutral nursery here because I've already done some searches on it, but obviously you just type in neutral nursery and Pinterest will pop up a whole bunch of beautiful images that it has found that are most attractive to that target audience. So this is amazing for us when it comes to helping us build our Etsy brand, because we can scroll through and we can find images that we really like and represent what our target customer would want in a neutral nursery, and we can use that to help solidify our branding. So for example, I'm going to go through and find a couple of images that really represent neutral nursery. I love this image here. This to me super represents a neutral nursery. It looks very similar to some of the other images that we were seeing on Pinterest. So I'm just going to click, I'm going to save it to my downloads, and then I'm going to keep looking. Now, we're not going to be using these for resale or to promote anything because these are obviously other people's images, but we're just going to be using them to create a mood board and help us build up our brand identities, so we know what colors and shapes and fonts our target audience really respond to. So if I scroll down again, I might find something that looks quite similar. So here, I quite like the look of that one, and that looks quite cohesive. I'm going to gather a number of images that kind of represent what I find attractive as a neutral nursery decor, but also exactly what my audience are already looking for, what they find appealing. So this is so useful for you. But if you would prefer to find images that you could actually use in your marketing material, so you want some stock photos as well, you can also take the inspiration from here. So I know what I'm kind of looking for when it comes to a neutral nursery and what my target audience find appealing, and I can use some stock photography websites such as Unsplash, and I can search for similar keywords that will hopefully help me find some images that I could perhaps use in my marketing and things as I go. So again, we can see kind of these neutral looks. And there's a number of these different stock websites that are really useful, and I'm going to list them down below for you as well, so you can take a look and maybe gather some more imagery from there. So once you've gathered a whole bunch of images that really represent what your target audience are looking for when they're typing in keywords that really relate to what you want to sell, then the next thing that we want to do is head over to our graphics design platform. So if you are using Canva like I am, then I've left the link for you down below, which will take you over to this page, which you can click on to create a mood board in your Canva account. You can also just go onto Canva and click the more section, and you can scroll down and just click the photo collage, which is the exact same thing. So it's going to give you here a bunch of templates that you can use just to create a mood board, so that you can kind of gather all of those images that you just found on Pinterest and on stock photo websites, and we can really get a feel for the colors and the styles that we want to use to create our Etsy branding. So I've already picked one over here. As you can see, I've already been having a bit of a play here with some neutral images that I found on, I think I found these on Unsplash, which is a stock photography website. But also I'm going to take some of the ones that I found on Pinterest and just click them around, have a play, and see what a neutral nursery kind of would look like, and what kind of colors I can see, what kind of imagery is being used, what kind of fonts are being used, and I can just really create the look of my entire Etsy shop just using images that I have found that I know that my customers can relate to. And I can really start to see a running theme here, which is why I want you to create a mood board, so you can get a feel for what your potential customer really responds to when it comes to imagery. So here I can see that there's certain types of fonts that seem to appeal to this type of decor, and there are definitely colors that are associated with this type of decor. So there definitely seems to be kind of soft brown colors, touches of green, touches of blue, very soft and earthy, but almost whitewashed. And this gives me a really good indication as to what my Etsy shop should look like as well. What my banner in my Etsy shop should look like, what my shop icon should look like, the stock photos that I should use, and even down to the art printables themselves, what kind of colors I should be using, fonts I should be using in those. So it's a really great way just to create a mood board to really get a quick feel for what your type of customer likes visually. And I'll show you, for example, when I created I Know I'm Perfect, I actually did the exact same thing, and I created a mood board to really give me an understanding of what this type of girl finds visually appealing. I absolutely love getting creative and creating a mood board to help me get the feel and the look that I want for my shop, so that you can pretty much make your Etsy shop exactly what they would find appealing anywhere else online. And that's really going to help with not only driving in traffic when you associate it with your social media pins and your posts, but also when they actually get into your shop, the fact that it stays cohesive, the fact that it stays looking like a place that they'd want to be, is really going to help with your conversion rate. So finally, once I've created a mood board that really gets the look and the feel of what I want my Etsy shop to look like, then I want to go ahead and create a simple brand identity kit. And it's just a page, and this is by no means an extensive brand bible that, you know, you'd use if you were creating a multi-million-pound business. This is just something for you to really help you remain cohesive through the entire process of building your Etsy business, your branding, your art printables, your listing photos, everything. And that is just to create a simple page using Canva, or if you want to use PicMonkey or wherever you're on, to kind of create a simple brand board. It's just a simple guide for you so that as you continue to grow your Etsy business, or as you continue to add things into your Etsy shop, you can stick with your colors, with your fonts, and make sure that you're staying with the mood and look when you incorporate things like your mock-ups or your image stock photography that you want to use in your marketing material. So to create a simple brand identity, as I've done here, it's so easy to create and set up. So first thing I did was just added what I would class as a logo, but really it was just me playing around with fonts that I liked to create the name of my shop. So here I've just played around with Nursery Nunu, and this is just a piece of clip art that I purchased that I just had to play with, kind of just show the colors and the style that I want to stick with. And then below I just created a simple color palette. So I just literally clicked on text, dragged over and add heading, and typed in color palette, and then I've just added some circles here. I would recommend choosing between 3 and 4 colors that are really going to help you represent your brand. And the best thing about using something like Canva is that all I did was click down and drag over one of these circles that it has in the element section, and then I just resized it and added it to the page. And then once I did that, I just added another one, and I just changed up the color. And something that I really love about Canva is when you just click on the plus button, you can play around and really pick kind of what color really represents the images that you found in your mood boards. And then it will also give you the color code, and this is absolutely priceless, and I always recommend just adding it underneath. So here I can see this is the color code, because what that means is whatever program I go on to use, I can actually just in future type in the hex color. So for example, if I want to change this to be the exact same color as this one here, then all I need to do is click, and I'm going to copy and paste this hex color and change this green just by simply changing the color code, that one, and it's going to be exactly matching. So from now on, whenever I'm creating in Canva and I want to get the same color that is represented in my brand, then it's so easy to do by just copying and pasting the hex color. So it really is just about having a play with these colors, finding 3 or 4 colors that can really represent your brand and that you can stick with time and time again. And you can use these colors to help you search for example, when you're looking for mock-ups to use in your listing photos, or when you're looking for stock photos to use in your marketing material, then you can just stay true to the color theme that you have. So under that, I just added some fonts, and I've picked out 2 fonts that I think again are really related to the fonts that I saw a lot in the photography that my audience likes. I've gone for one that's much more simple, it's a lot easier to read, and then one that's based around kind of calligraphy and kind of fun childish writing, because that's what my target audience seem to really love. And then finally, I have added a mood section, which is just a place that I could add some imagery that really resonates with my target audience, that will help me focus on, like I said, when I find mock-ups that will work really well with that, or when I find stock photography that I can use in my marketing material that my audience will really love. So I have added a copy of this down below at the bottom of this lesson, so that you can either print it out yourself and have a look at kind of the elements that I've added, or you can just go ahead and play around using an A4 piece on Canva to create your own brand identity. But I would really recommend that you stop in this lesson and you work out what your target audience finds visually appealing, because this is going to help you when you are designing your Etsy banner, your shop icon, your art prints themselves, and even the imagery that you use to show off your art prints in your listing. So it really has a huge impact. And taking your time to make sure that you are using colors and fonts and a mood in your shop that really resonates with your target audience is something that so many Etsy shops do not do. And as a consequence of that, a lot of people click onto the shop, look around it, feel like it's not really related to them, they don't really feel at home there, and click off because they feel like it's just not what they were looking for. And it may have the perfect prints in there for them, but people want to feel like they belong in whatever they are looking at. They want to feel like they aspire to it, they're attracted to it. And so not taking the time to get a brand identity and a look of an Etsy shop that your customer will be attracted to really is a way to reduce your sales straight off the bat. So making sure your branding is on point and that you have taken the time to work out your color palette, the types of fonts you want to use, and the mood of your entire shop is essential. So go ahead and take a look around Pinterest, take a look around stock photo websites, and really get a feel for what your target audience finds appealing visually. Then go ahead and create a mood board with some of those images just to really help you see the overarching themes of colors, of fonts, of the look and style of this imagery. And then finally go ahead and create a simple page branding set. All of this is going to be key when we actually start setting up the look of our shop and creating our art printables.